Live, love Africa. What's your excuse for not coming? Please subscribe.
Hello, I'm Dynasty Mir. All right, we're finally in Nigeria. Finally, I'm happy. Finally in Nigeria. Driver, say hello. Say hello, driver. Finally in Nigeria. So we're headed to Lagos. Now. We're in Ogun State.
Yeah, it's Ogun State.
Yes. Headed to Lagos State. Lagos. So happy to be in Nigeria. Yes, I am. I'll keep you guys posted.
Pots on their heads and stuff. They control them all. And Valentine Strasser, when he did the coup.
The coup.
Yeah, he did a coup about 25 years. There's more, but that was the main information on the backdrop. So what you want to rap about?
The data that points to the future of Africa being a promising next, I would say, decade, especially 2020, new decade. Like, what can we expect in these next 10 years for this new decade?
Well, that's a mixed bag question, sir, but it's bright on the horizon. Primarily because of the lady we went to see in Atlanta.
Right.
Speak.
Well, she's no longer in the role.
I know she's no longer in the role, but she broke the ice.
Right.
And everybody woke up to that. When she got fired, that was like the best thing that could have happened in a sense to all of us, because they fired her and it was like, what? Who fired her? And of course it was, this is where we're going to go.
Okay.
She was fired at Macron's request, or the French request.
Right.
Right?
We're talking about France. We're telling the truth about France.
For telling the truth about, primarily France.
Right.
Yeah. 500 billion euro per annum.
Coming from West Africa, from the safer countries.
Or $500 billion, 400 something billion euro, almost $500 billion per annum comes out of Francophone to France.
Right.
And France can't survive without that.
No.
So now the echo currency.
What's your thoughts on that?
I'm waiting to know more about how it's issued and by whom.
Well, they were saying the central bank was going to be here in Nigeria.
Which central bank?
For the echo.
For the echo, because Nigeria's supposed to take over 60% of the assets.
Right, which
That's
makes
what I'm
sense.
hearing.
Which makes sense.
But it hasn't happened, right?
True.
It's announced. It hasn't happened. So, I understand Buhari has stepped into it, and because it came off of his lips, that's why there's like some rumblings or quasi-excitement about it. Now, I wish it would be kind of like the West African dinar, which is what
Gaddafi
wanted to do.
Right.
What's going to be gold or metal based.
Right.
Not backed. It would be coin.
Oh, wow.
I understand it wasn't going to be paper. It was going to be an ounce.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah. Well, according to the Quran, gold is money, nothing else.
Right.
I don't know if he's going to follow suit like that, but he didn't get it out. So, I've been saying ever since before I even came here, and I wrote up something, I'll show it to you. Well, we'd be better off if we went back to the West African British sterling or the Liberian silver dollar, which is identical to the U.S. silver dollar that was issued in 1847, and I don't know if they had a remint. But I remember when I first came, I was asking the Liberians about it. I said, yeah, we see them around. but everybody's using dollars now. You know, especially when the war broke out. So, you've seen that video, I'm sure, about Ghana. There's a lady from Ghana, an economist, and she's on TED, and she's talking, and she's saying, we're wondering why the Ghana CD is like 5,000 to $1.
I think, was that the Sierra Leone? She's Sierra Leonean, light-skinned lady?
Okay.
She's from Sierra Leone.
Yeah, okay, but
yeah.
you're speaking about the Ghana and the CD.
Right.
But Ghana has like 9% of the proven reserves of gold in the world or something like that.
Right.
So how is Ghana's currency so weak, and they have that proven resource in the ground in gold deposits?
Right.
Can any of you make any sense? And then in that video, you can hear a pin drop. Nobody said anything.
Right.
Okay. Ghana alone doing something like that is quasi-risky. I like what the Ghanaian president's been saying, especially when he was standing there next to Marcon that time.
Right.
You saw that. So it's like everybody's woken up. And then this lady, ambassador.
Dr. Was it Ericana? Was that her?
Right. Who went to Fisk.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And Meharry, which is what my parents went to Fisk. Dad, my granddad, and my godfather, they went to Meharry Medical. So she followed the same suit. Remember, I was saying that when we were there.
I love the chicken.
Okay.
There's a little more.
Okay, I'm being interviewed.
Bro.
Okay.
Fine.
So, if the awareness is picked up,
Right.
it's not an if anymore. I'm pretty sure it is. They're discussing the echo, timely. They're discussing the French. Is it a pullout or a backup?
As far as the safe file, it's more of a backup, but
yes, no
I'm
more.
I'm sure hidden hands are still going to be.
Although, understand, 50% of what's deposited. 50% of what's deposited. Each of those francophone countries had to have deposited in France.
Right.
And then they borrowed at some exorbitant rate to use their own money. That game is gone. So if you're looking at the 8 West African francophones, and then you add Gabon and Cameroon and CAR and the like, if Ghana and Nigeria are joining properly, and we haven't got to Sierra Leone and its diamonds and its gold, and Monrovia, Liberia, and its rubber and its iron ore billets that are going to be used in Ajikuta steel. West Africa alone is a powerhouse.
Right.
South Africa is not controlled by us.
Of course not. Thank Mandela.
Mandela. What about Mandela?
For South Africa not being controlled by us.
Thank him.
Yeah, you got to thank Mandela for that.
For him bamboozling. Yeah, and there's some quiet rumblings about that. Malema has spoken a little bit about it.
He's been quiet lately.
Yeah, he said something in the last week. I saved it and I didn't read it over the weekend. He said something this last week. But I remember the lady who was head of the mines or lands a few years ago said, we want everybody to come and bid for the leases for the gold and the minerals and the diamond mines, because De Beers and Co. just came in at gunpoint and they don't pay royalties.
Right.
So I remember seeing a white lady speaking on behalf of De Beers and said, no, nationalizing the mines is not good. Yeah, that's not good. You know, it's going to mess up the economy.
Don't mess it up for them.
Yeah.
They're the economy, so.
Yeah. So it's like nationalization. What do you mean? They already own it. It's South African land. You're just going to have to come bid and pay a royalty and pay for a lease agreement properly, rather than just at gunpoint take it out of the ground like you've been doing for how many centuries? I don't even know.
At least 2.
Yeah.
Well, really 3, almost. 2 to
So, if the French are politely taking a step back, because that's what I'm calling it, because usually if there's a rumbling, they just do a coup. That's been the order of the day.
Well, we know who's backing up those Islamic forces in North Mali. You know, I'm pretty sure
all those
insurgents.
ABC organizations or
Right,
whatever.
Right.
Yeah. The Bocos, etc.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. There's some serious gold mining going on in Mali and in Niger.
Yeah.
And it's not arbitrary that there's 3 U.S. drone stations or airports
In Niger.
in Niger.
Right.
Yeah. Just arbitrary, right?
Right.
3 of them. So now,
Says, child seats to the installation.
with Ghana at the spearhead, with the Francophones getting the Echo launched, I'm worried about the colonial mentality of the Francophone officials in the independent countries.
Right.
You know, under Hofoboni, if it wasn't French or from France, it was like, and you didn't write a letter even. Talking about neo-colonialism,
Right.
he enshrined that.
Right.
And he was hiring the Air France SST, or what is it called? Yeah. The Concorde. Fly
Private
down
jet,
to
yeah.
his capital, and then he'd get on and go shopping with all the loot to France. But it was stable. I'll say that. But you know, I won't go in all the funky details about Hofoboni. But what do you expect? You know, same thing in Gabon.
Same thing in Cote d'Ivoire.
Now you mean?
Well, it's still somewhat.
There's
down
been
to
some
it.
rumbling. Now Guinea's in chaos right now. Right?
I believe so.
It's like the military had come in, but politely said, well, we don't really want to take it over, but we don't like what you guys were doing. And now people are in the street because the guy wants to change the Constitution, right? To run again?
Mhm.
Is that right? Same thing that was happening.
Same thing in Togo.
and
In Togo, somewhat.
with
They wanted to change the constitution where basically he could serve.
the son of the guy who
Exactly.
knocked off Olympio.
Mhm.
Nasambe Iadema. And the same thing happened in Burkina Faso.
Yeah.
The people came out and said, no. And they capitulated. And I'm still trying to find out what's going on with them now.
Just the Safa in France. And
Yeah, okay. The awareness is peaked to, I would say, we're more aware now than we ever have been
right,
as Africans and African Americans.
right,
In my 30 plus years of interacting here, living here in and out, mostly here. So, because of that ambassador that we met in Atlanta, because of this president of Ghana, because of these other individuals, as in the lady from Sierra Leone and others,
Right.
everybody's aware now. We're not joking anymore. It's like,
Right.
okay, now what's the next move? The Echo gives us a shot, and I'm predictably seeing Nigeria. They have to take their step,
right,
and it's always been like that. 200 million under one border, right?
exactly. And then the largest black diaspora on the planet as well.
Yes,
Nigerians are everywhere.
yes, and usually they go cream de la creme. They go for the top,
Right.
wherever they are. Now, there's never been a perfect government here anyway, or anywhere for that matter, but I think we got a shot now. In next year and a half, we will know how fast this new era, if you want to call it the roaring 20s for us, or the
Right.
prosperous 20s, or the possible 20s, or whatever you want to call it, it's as bright as it's ever been. And I don't know if it's taking this paradigm shift of psychology as well as the times. It's like, okay, technology has come to a point where any of us can communicate instantly.
Right, which is a major factor.
Which is what we didn't have 15, 20 years ago. It was there, but not for all of us in mass like we have now. Come on now. So everybody can be on the same page. And I think the West, they're going to be shaking at their knees.
Right.
If they're not already. And to me, some of this rumblings where they tried to rope Nigeria into this Iran thing, what's Nigeria got to do with that?
Well, how did they rope Nigeria into? I know there's, I guess,
they were saying, okay,
in the north,
security in Nigeria.
Yeah,
blah,
because
blah, blah,
of the I guess the Shiite in northern Nigeria. I guess they were upset about what happened to the general, so they were afraid that they were gonna retaliate. I think that's why Nigeria was kind of roped in.
Retaliate against U.S. citizens, or who?
That's a good question. I guess anybody that's
it's like
in bed with the West.
You know, somebody organized a protest in front of the U.S. Embassy in Abuja. I don't know who, but it happened.
Oh, it did? Wow.
Yeah, it did. Mm-hmm. Like 2 days after. But see, I'm wondering if everybody has all the details on the same page. My understanding of that event, there were 25 or so people that were killed in Iraq, and that's why there was a protest in front of the U.S. Embassy in the first place.
Right.
Then this general gets knocked off. And they say, well, he's the one that organized the protest in Iraq. Now, they haven't been saying that ever since the first day all this stuff unfolded.
But I think it was Iranians who were protesting in Iraq, or was it Iraqis?
I'm still trying to get to the bottom of it. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
But about 20 odd Iranians were dead, or Iraqi, Iranians, whatever, were dead. And that's why the protest was happening at that embassy in the first place. Mm-hmm. Then the general gets knocked off after that.
Right.
They're not even talking about those 20 whatever people that were killed that led to the protest.
Right.
In the first place. Are they?
No.
CNN and BBC aren't anyway.
No.
Oh, by the way, MSNBC and Bloomberg dropped off DSTV the first week of the year.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
They're just not there anymore. I mean, you can't even misdial it. It's like they're just not there. The service is not there. Now, Bloomberg's running for president.
Right.
And the MSNBC is the third eye of the top. So, we live in interesting times.
Uh-huh. So how has the landscape of Nigeria changed just in these past 30 years that I guess would point to a positive future for just Nigeria or West Africa itself?
Okay.
You've been here 30 years, Sean.
Yeah,
it's a long time.
plus.
Plus,
now,
30 plus.
The worst indicator is when I came, a U.S. Federal Reserve note, FRAUDS, fraud, Federal Reserve accounting unit dollar,
was
when I came was only 5.3
to a naira.
To
1 naira.
5.3 naira to one Federal Reserve note dollar.
Right.
It used to be in the 70s, $2 to 1 naira.
Wow.
It was par with the pound. It was £1, $1. I mean, £1, 1 naira. But 1 naira and £1 were both $2 around that time. It went up to 500 and something. From when I was here, 5.3. The next year went to 20 something. The next year, 40 something, 50. By the time Abiola was running for president to be sworn in, it came down from about 48-ish to like 28. I mean, officially.
The stats or the figures or the data that show that Africa's the future.
Yeah, well, in sheer numbers, Africa, the catalyst will be West Africa. It's obvious.
Okay.
And of course, the West Africans are more spicy than the rest of the continent. I think you found that out.
Oh yeah, I know.
That's us.
Right.
You want to call it that. And they never could really contain Nigeria ever since the British stepped out of here. That civil war with Biafra, it set us back here, but it set the whole race back, in my opinion.
It did.
And they looked at it, the British were supplying both sides.
Well, all the military generals on both sides were trained in Britain.
Yeah. And they were all at Sandhurst and Cote d'Ivoire together. Ojukwu and Gowon were in this. It has a picture with them in training together. Those ropes and those logs that you go.
Right.
One's on one log and one's on the other. But Ojukwu, being an Oxford grad, was much smarter and much higher. But nonetheless. Now, you've got, I guess, the French rope. Rope around their necks is coming off. Mm-hmm. And hopefully there's no turning back. If the Echo gets placed,
can I come out and meet Mom?
Yes, go on.
Are you guys also coming out?
No, we're talking.
Okay.
If the euro on its own establishes a good value, and it should be a metallic tied to it. Yes.
Did Mom say that she's here?
She's here. I dropped her here.
Did she tell you?
Yes.
Okay.
Where was I?
The metallic.
Euro. Yeah. To me, with Ghana and Nigeria and Guinea, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Niger, Mali. There's gold and minerals in all these places now. Even uranium is up in there. If we go to a metallic-based cryptocurrency for the Echo, not just a piece of paper.
We know there's metallic-based cryptocurrency already out.
I know, but I'm talking about the Echo.
Okay.
That keeps its value. Where, the economies are more resource-based. And then we actually do industrialization on our terms. Ajakuta steel, you understand? We make our own rubber tires. There's going to be electric cars, right? But yeah, they're still going to run on tires. Right. They're going to run on wheels. Just Nigeria alone, but see, Nigeria collaborating properly. If you ever see the ECOWAS treaty or the ECOWAS agreements, have you ever read it?
Not completely. No, I need to.
Go online and read it. Mm-hmm. Even for carriers and railroads and everything, they've thought it out, but they just didn't implement it. It's well thought out. But the ECHO was the first major move since they were talking about a traveler's check, an Echo traveler's check. And about 10, 15 years ago, they were talking about it, and then nothing happened. So the Echo was like, okay, we're going straight to currency, finally. As long as the West African states are determining their economics directions, it'll be fine. Mm-hmm. But that French stranglehold was a big problem, and as you see, the French got the ambassador fired.
Right.
So whether AU wakes up or not, the Echo can take off. Since they didn't do Brother Gaddafi's dinar. Mm-hmm. Okay, fine. And remember when we went to Morehouse in front of the ambassador and we asked about the black African passport, and they said, oh, it's mainly for business people, choice business people and heads of state. Right. Okay, well, why are you talking about it? As if those people need a passport at all. They're going with a presidential jet. Two questions. Right. I snuck in another one. I said, okay, what about visa relief? Well, they don't cost much. I said, well, in Nigeria alone, $300.
$300.
And she was surprised. She said, oh, which one? Nigeria.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, $300. I think I said, and that's before you get the ticket, but also to do the biometrics, you had to come to Atlanta or Washington or New York.
No. It's Atlanta, Washington, or LA.
Or LA. Mm-hmm. You got to be there. And you can't get biometrics done in a day, right?
You can, but the holdup is if your paperwork's not right when you get there.
Yeah.
Depending on what they're asking for, that could
Okay.
be a problem.
So now they've announced, and Nigeria joined, freedom of all Africans to go across all borders.
But that's if you have an African passport.
Correct.
So if you're African, displaced African in America with a U.S. passport, that doesn't include you.
Right.
Yeah.
And we got the cash, so to speak.
Right.
So, if George Way and Co., I think I've mentioned this to you, with his West Indian wife,
Right.
why don't they wake up?
Jamaican, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why don't they wake up? Say, all right, all you brothers and sisters.
Well, you know,
the Constitution already there says any Negro from anywhere,
Right.
1 year residency. Well, drop the residency, Holmes. The Liberian embassies, we'll line up and buy the passport. How much is the passport? Now, whether we use it or not,
Right.
but just let's pay for the passport. Wouldn't that help you?
But you know, that's a little bit deeper. That's a whole nother subject.
Yeah, but it's ripe now.
Yeah, but you know, there's a certain faction in Liberia that's going to say we can't do it because of the people who founded the country and.
Is us.
Right, exactly. But
But now it's that class of people, not us anymore.
Right.
I noticed that.
Right.
But they better wake up. Okay, your president has a West Indian wife. Does she have a Liberian passport? I assume she does.
She does. She
All
should.
right,
I would
fine.
think she does. Yeah.
Fine. So, you've only got how many Liberians now? 2.5 million? 4 million?
Yeah, there's like maybe 3.
Okay. So there's approaching 50 million African Americans. That's what they call us now, right? So it's not enough of the opposite sex to marry all of us right now.
Uh-huh.
Unless you got polygamy or
Right.
bigamy. So you don't want us to come. Come on, George. Now he's got his own political troubles.
Right.
That's the side of the point. You want us to help you out? How much is the passport?
Right.
We could raise $1 billion for you right there. 1 million of us with $100. That's $1 billion. Is that right? It's $1 billion, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, because 2 million.
Yeah.
No. Oh, 1 million with
That's
100 million.
$100 million.
$100 million.
So
It'd be 1,000.
the visa
Like
already is almost $100. Just the visa.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I have different classes of it. We get the visa, $100. When we arrive, we're applying for the passport. Now, based on how much time do we have to be there to get it? If you're requiring us to reside, at least be there. Okay, waive the visa for us at least. How about that? And when we arrive, you apply for the passport. Okay, your application is accepted. Does it take you 10 years to have 1 year residence? Or does it we just stay it out for 1 year or 6 months plus 1 day?
Right.
You know? You trying to encourage us or you don't want us? What's it going to be? Let's lay it on the table. All right, Liberia, you're only one country, but you're set up for this purpose in the law already. My understanding was 1 year residence, get the passport, or marriage.
In fact, well, in the law, I read it before. It doesn't even state the amount of time. It says you have to be a resident, from my understanding.
Okay.
From what I've read,
So
as long as you're a resident,
okay, so I fly in there and I get a hotel room. Am I a resident?
maybe they mean ownership. Maybe. Well, can you own land as a foreigner in Liberia?
If you can't, then it's not going to develop.
Right.
We're not coming. That's why I have a problem with Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
Ghana is saying, what, Belonga? No. Belonga is Caribbean. Right of abode.
Right over, but that
That's not
includes
citizenship.
that includes everybody.